to another episode of Car Reactions. My name is Kamaria. And today we are actually going to be looking at the great Patricia Wright. With her channel, The Break. Title of this video is 7 Money Lies You Need to Avoid When You're Young. And I'm young, and she's not American. She's a British YouTuber, which I love. I love her makeup tutorials and just her beauty vlogs, videos, her daily home vlogs, everything like that. I love everything about her. So yeah, let's see what she has to offer. I'm gonna put me in the corner. If you guys can still see me. Yeah. Let's get started.
How do you work, the richer you will be. You need to be saving. That is the biggest lie ever. I'm basically now a millennial who is definitely adulting. I'm adulting. I have the kids, I have the mortgage, I've paid off the student loan, I've done it all. And I'm telling you now, there are some money lies that I am still unlearning. I now truly believe that it's like some form of strategy or the Illuminati, or something that really embeds these lies into the culture of people. If you don't grow up with money or knowing much about investing or saving or how wealth works, you are definitely in a position where you're going to be at a disadvantage. And there are so many lies that are hanging around that you really need to be able to cut through to the truth to actually live a life of more abundance and growth. And yes, that might involve some more money, but I think in general it's about living a more fulfilled life, but not if you are living under these money lies. Okay, so this money lie is going to be a bit of pill to swallow, but saving is a big old lie. Now, don't get me wrong. The principle of budgeting, saving as in don't overspend what you're making, like make sure you have some money at the end of the day, is great, important principles, and everybody should be doing that. Cut your cloth according to your size, right? But I no longer believe in saving in a bank account. We're not squirrels. We do not need to store our nuts. Don't know if we want to be talking about storing nuts or not. We don't want to be storing our nuts away for a rainy day. The reason why we don't want to be saving in this way, leaving our money to build up in the bank, is because of inflation. Money over time can, particularly now that the Fed and government are printing money like it's water, the value of the money is becoming lower and lower. I think nowadays the concept of understanding that your money needs to make money means that saving isn't a valuable tool anymore. The principle, yes, but putting it just in a bank account, no. Money is able to actually make money if it is invested wisely. It is put into somewhere where you will generate a return and additional income. Buying and owning a home.
Okay, so I agree with lie number 1, but I also disagree. So I think that money does, like, government is printing out money like they ain't got nobody's business going on right now, especially with all the stimulus checks that they got going on, and all the debt, us giving money to Ukraine and other places, like where we're pulling money from, canceling student debt, like all this other stuff. Like we're pulling money out of our behinds to do stuff, especially within America. And our dollar, you can actually see it is actually decreasing in value. But at the same time, I feel like you should save your money, but you should be very, very smart about you saving your money and how you're saving it. So with that being said, if you don't plan on using that money within the next year or two, like a trip, a vacation, or something that you need to liquidate like right now, and you're kind of stacking up for that, then go ahead and invest that money, because it makes it makes a lot more sense for you, like she said, your money to be making money. Now, if you're saving just to save because you want to see that dollar, then invest it within the stock market or within real estate. Get you a couple real estate properties, duplexes, whatever, and go ahead and build that passive income. But if it's short term, save your money, and then if it's long term, then go ahead and invest your money. whether it's a 401k, people have pension plans, Roth IRA, HSA or FSA spending plans, things like that. Make sure when you're saving your money, you're very smart about it. And I am so sorry, like these car reaction videos, I don't know if you guys can hear that in the background, but I guess I'll see what I did the video.
It's better than renting. I say this as a property owner, but buying a property is not always the best financial decision or money decision that everyone has to make or should make.
Amen. I am glad that somebody's actually said that, because especially in America, your American dream is a house with a white picket fence with you, your husband, a kid, and a dog, or 2 kids and a dog, and you owning that house and you going to get that stuff. Buying a house is a lot of money. People understand that you got the down payment that you have to pay for, anywhere, between 3 to 20%, depending on how much you're putting down on that house. Then you also got closing costs that you have to, account for that. Then on top of that, especially if you're not buying a new build of a house, then you have to worry about other expenses, like when's the last time the roof was replaced, what if things break, the garbage disposal, any piping within the house, toilet maintenance, other stuff like that. Like, you got so much stuff that you have to worry about when you're buying a house versus when you're actually renting a property. They take care of all that. Yeah, you're giving money to somebody else for their stuff, but all that other extra stuff that you would be paying for a mortgage, like with additional to a mortgage, you're going to be, you just call them, hey, my refrigerator, the glass shattered, and the freezer, and then I need to replace the filter. Call the leasing, hey, I need, this replaced. They came down here, replaced it. If not, then that's something that I would have had to pay if I had my own house, additional to my mortgage, to go and fix that. If I had a water heater, which people understand, those things are super expensive. If something happens to that, I have to pay that. And with insurance companies, they pay it, but if you have 2 claims within a year, they pretty much don't cover you. So it's like you have to be very, very careful on how you do things.
And having a house is not always the right choice for people. There are lots of expenses which are associated with buying a house. And in the long run, depending on how long you live, it may not be as valuable to you depending on the kind of life you want to live. When you own a home, it can be costly. The buying, the stamp duty, the deposit, the upkeep, the boiler breaks down. You are responsible for absolutely everything. And if something happens and you can't afford it, you have to bear that entire risk. However, when you're renting, that's not necessarily the entire case. Owning a home means that you need to make a really large, long-term commitment. Properties are illiquid, meaning they can't turn to cash really quickly. And if you need that money for an idea or a business or something important, if you put all that money into a home, it's going to be very difficult for you to get that money back out fast. There is a beauty in the flexibility of renting. I'm not saying that you don't need to buy a house or that you shouldn't buy a house, but the lie that you have to have a house at 23 years old is not one that I think you need to be under pressure for. Work hard and you might make it. The harder you work, the richer you'll be. This is such a lie, and the evidence does not support this. I want to know, do you work hard?
Yes.
What do you do for a living? How many hours do you work? Let me know in the comments. I know for a fact there are some bloody hardworking people out there who aren't necessarily being compensated by how hard they work. Amen. Working hard does not equate to making more money. We see the
Amen. I wish people will understand that. I work 40 hours a week. I work from home. I'm a full-time mom. I go to school full-time. And I work hard as hell for my motherfucking job. And it's so sad that when you get your yearly reviews or your reviews for your salary, and, in order to compensate you for all the extra work that you've been doing, they give you something so small where, it doesn't matter. Right now, cost of living has increased, gas prices has went up, food prices has went up, a lot of shit has changed, and my raise for this year was 67 cents. 67 cents per hour was additional. That's not a whole lot. It's about $1,200 and something like that dollars a year, which is nothing, what you equate for everything else that, you know, encompasses for that. It's like, okay, insurance, I pay more money for stuff like that. Like, you have kids, you work your ass off, and it's like, wow, like, you're only worth 67 cents, or you're only worth a 2% raise or a 1% raise or whatever that is. Like, that looks really, really shitty. Especially cost of living goes up, your wages could go up. I'm making you more money, I should be able to see more money in my pocket. So I agree. Just because you work hard does not mean that you're going to become rich overnight. Does not mean that you're going to become a millionaire, you know, just like that, or doing some. Yes, it takes work for you to put into all those things, but that does not mean that that's going to come like that. No.
In the healthcare industry versus, say, the sports industry. Nurses are some of the hardest working people out there who can scrape maybe 40 or 50,000 a year, which is quite a good salary, versus Logan Paul, who could punch someone in the head and make like hundreds of millions. Like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I've realized that when it comes to like earning more or being rich, it's all about specific choices. You can actually choose to go down the path of, say, chasing the dollar sign, or you may choose another path that doesn't necessarily equate to dollars. And you have to really determine what's important to you. The thing you want to work out is, number one, how can you deliver lots of value that people are willing to pay for? And secondly, scalability. What can grow exponentially larger that I don't always have to put my hands toward? I'm earning more now. It's time for me to splurge. It's time for me to keep up. Well, I deserve it. Listen, you don't deserve nothing. No, I'm joking. I'm not going to say that. However, there was a huge...
No, I completely agree. That lifestyle creep is real. Once you start making money, or you get a job, and let's say you go from $14 an hour to making $20 an hour, that lifestyle creep goes up on you. You feel like you can spend more money going out. You feel like you can spend, you know, now you can buy a more nicer apartment. Now you can go and get a nicer car, or you can do all that other stuff. You have to be careful with lifestyle creep. That is
issue when people fall into the trap of lifestyle inflation, meaning they make a little bit more money, they take on a little bit more debt, or they buy more things, or they get a bigger house, or they get more expensive clothes just to keep up. And actually, the wisest thing you can probably do is actually just say, I'm good. I've got my raise. I'm good. Maybe get 10 raises, then upgrade. But realistically, you don't have to keep up just because your revenue has gone up. If you're doing good, amazing. You need to know that. You don't need to spend money on outward things for other people to know that you're doing well. Next, talking about money is rude, crude, uncouth, unladylike. It's a lie. It is such a lie that is actually there on purpose. I believe that conversations should be had around money, at least for benchmarking purposes, right? Sometimes industries have these glass ceilings when it comes to rates, when it comes to payments, when it comes to fair pay. And that's because certain conversations are not had, particularly among women. Women are less likely to talk about their income. They're less likely to negotiate their salaries. They're less likely to even apply for jobs, even when they're more qualified than their men.
I completely agree with that. I remember when I first started working, my job actually told us that when I got my raise, don't tell anybody, don't discuss this with anybody, And shit, that's important to discuss, you know, how much money you're making, especially versus everyone else. Because, you know, they make you feel like, oh, we're going to give you $2 more, or, you know, we're going to start you off at this amount. And you feel like, oh, okay, I'm making some money. And then you find out these other people are making $5, $6, $7 more than you to do one less work than you. You're a much harder worker. Like, you have to be able to negotiate your salary, your worth, and everything within that comes to the workplace. So speaking about it, one, it's not illegal to speak about your pay, which is something that they told us. None of that shit was not true. It is not illegal to speak about your pay. Definitely speak about that with someone. And just to have that conversation, especially if you're a female and you're trying to make more money, like, you need to know, what are your male counterparts making? What are other people within that field making with the same or with similar experiences that you have? So that way you know that you are marketing yourself in a great manner, so that way you can get the most for your worth. And, you know, when you go and leave another job, you do the exact same thing. You're able to negotiate better when you know what the salary is or what the hourly rate is, and have those conversations with other people. That salary should not be something that should be shamed, like, at all. It's so sad.
Our counterparts, men are more likely to talk about these things, and I want to tell all the girls and women, talk about it to those who you trust, but honestly, don't be afraid. Nothing can happen to you. Get yourself a stun gun though. Stay safe. This is me coming from another angle, because I have to put this one in here, but spending on luxuries is a bad thing. Darling, listen, spend on a luxury here and
spending on luxury is a bad thing if you ain't got that money. Like, if you comparing and you like, hey, my rent is due, but I want this Louis Vuitton or Chanel purse, bitch, go pay your motherfucking rent or your motherfucking car note and get that shit done and get that shit, you know, squared away. But if it's like, okay, I'm treating myself, I feel like I've saved up for this, I'm gonna go spend on that bag that I know it's gonna last me a long time, go get that shit. Because those are, especially if you're buying investment pieces, like rich people who go out and buy Rolexes, who go out and buy nice vintage type cars, who go out and buy Birkins and stuff like that. Those are nice vintage pieces. They last a long time, and they grow within value, and they grow that money, honey. So spend your money how you need it, but be smart. Don't, you know.
Yeah, to an extent, right? Because tomorrow is not promised. You can't take money into the grave with you. And I think little luxuries actually make people feel good, right? Don't get too much satisfaction from buying things, but it's okay. Like, you're allowed a luxury here and there. I do think people who sometimes come from backgrounds where people are more frugal and nervous about money get scared about spending, particularly on themselves or luxuries. And that is actually a more limiting belief. I've actually had to learn it's okay to spend a little bit more. In comparison to my earnings, I spend very little. And sometimes I see like people buying stuff and I'm like, how can they afford to buy it? And I'll say that to myself. I'm like, Patricia, you can afford to buy it. But I'm like,
I would never spend that amount of money on stuff.
Because my mind cannot compute spending that much. And there's elements of me that I've actually learned, like, you know what, spend a little, go on, buy a luxury, go on, do it. I've actually pushed myself so that I challenge myself to break down some of those scared money mindsets that I have. So the final money lie that a lot of people believe is that it's not for people like me. Insert reason here. And I understand that life has a lot of barriers to people for different reasons. It might be your race, it might be your gender, it might be your looks, your appearance, your education. And I get it. There are so many boundaries for many people's lives, right? But I think that one of the quickest ways to actually changing that is being informed. And I always say that knowledge is power, and that's why I want to talk about this stuff on this channel here, because the more that people who look like me or look like you or have maybe a disability who see others like themselves doing well, the more they believe it's possible. Amen. And the more they're able to get the shortcuts to get there. It's rare that you'll see examples of maybe whatever category you're in of success. And I do think that you want to look around for them. Spend the time to find others who are doing what you're doing, even if it's a level up, even if it's just a mentor, even if it's the guy down the street who's got a corner shop. I think it's really important to just see and look out for those kind of encounters versus believing the money lie or even a life lie that it's not possible for you. I would love for you to limit any form of limitation that you believe is upon you because of some form of reason. They're there. Some of them are there, but put it down and look at what your advantage is, and look at what your ability is, and look at what your skill and what you can do today is. And that's what I'm going to leave you with today. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Those are money lies that
Amen. I will say all those are on point. Great advice to recap in the end. Don't keep up with the Joneses. treat yourself, honey. Especially this, you look, okay, life is very, very short, and you don't know when your life is gonna end or when your last day may be here, and you don't want to spend that penny pinching or, you know, not being able to actually enjoy your time here, enjoy your loved ones, being able to treat yourself. It's like, don't go out and spend that extra $20 or $30 because you want to save it and pocket it just because you want to have it. Like, if you have that money and you can afford to do that, girl, splurge. Guys, splurge. Do that. Spend some time with yourself. Okay, so that is it. Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna post reaction videos every single week. Also, don't forget to smash the like button. Go ahead and hit the bell at the top if you want to get notifications every time I am posting a brand new video. And if you have any ideas or any video ideas that you would like for me to react to or just talk about, put it in the description box below. Love you. Bye.